Good morning everyone, it's Lucinda here at Peak Wildlife Park again. So this morning is Tuesday, so it's one of our how to train your videos. This week we are back with our African pygmy goats. So we've got Jeff, who we've been training to do some agility. So we've got Mike the keeper just in the background with Jeff at the moment. So what we're going to be doing, we'll give you a little overview of what happened last time, what we've been up to in these 4 weeks since our last video. And then we'll be taking you through a little training session so that you guys can understand a little bit more and can use these tips and tricks for your pets at home. So any sort of training that we're doing here can be used on your cats and your dogs at home. So the bases of the training are very similar across most animals. So a lot of it will be targeting and a reward as well, but I'll let Mike explain that a little bit further. So before I head over, I'll say hello to a few people that have joined us. So we've got Debbie, hi to Kerry, hi to Zoe and Erin, hi to Kiri, Wendy, Gary, Hayley, good morning to Kim, Tracy, Jane, Chloe. So give us a little wave if you're watching this morning. Give us a little love heart reaction or give a little wave in the comments box. And if you guys have any questions about these training sessions as we make our way through, then please just pop that into the comments box below and I'll ask Mike for you and he can explain it a little bit more and you guys can use these little tips at home. But also, if you guys have been doing any training with your animals, then please do let us know. We'd love to hear how you guys are getting on at home. So hi to Frankie, Iron, hi to Rowanna, hi to Erin and Katie, thank you so much for joining us. So I'll spin you around. So we've got Jeff here and Mike. Good morning, guys.
Good morning everyone, hope everyone's doing okay. Hope you aren't all suffering the lockdown blues at the moment, but if you are, hopefully Jeff here will cheer you up this morning. So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm just been keeping Jeff here whilst Lou, hello, said hi to you guys. Just giving him a little bit of food. So the reward we're using today is something called U-nut and something called grass pellets. So it's like a nice little compacted dry feed that you give to sheep and goats, and the grass pellet is literally what it sounds like. It's just compacted grass trimmings that these guys absolutely love eating. So we have got a few other goats and sheep in this enclosure, but we've shut them in for the breakfast this morning just to give Jeff a little bit of time solo to do a bit of his training. So what we're going to do this morning, I don't know if most of you guys watched our last training session with Jeff when Shawned did it.
A little bit grumpy this morning.
Yeah, he's a bit of a grumpy mood. We're making him work for his breakfast, which nobody likes to work for the breakfast. If we made you guys jump on rocks before you ate your breakfast, you might be a little bit grumpy too. So it's his sort of gentle little goatee way of saying, "Oh, stop teasing me and give me all the food." But it's an important part of his training. So we're giving him a bit at a time, and he knows that this is his breakfast, but it's also his reward for doing his training. So the other guys are shut in to have their breakfast at the moment. So what we're going to do, if you guys watch the first training video with Shawned, you'll see that, oh grumpy, you are a grumpy old goat this morning, aren't you? You saw that what Shawned did was she got Jeff to jump on some obstacles around the enclosure, on some of the rocks and on some of the logs at the back. So we've been trying to improve on that since you last saw Jeff. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a little wander around this morning, go through some of those obstacles again and see how well he's doing, see if he's come along any. So he's climbed on top of this rock very nicely, haven't you, buddy?
So what command will you be using then, Mike, to get him to do these things?
Okay, so basically we use a simple pointing technique. So he learns that where you point your finger is grumpy, is where he needs to headbutt this morning, apparently. So he learns that wherever you point, and we'll just say his name quite clearly, and he knows that that means for him to jump up on the rock. So hopefully he'll come down here now that I'm pointing down here. Watch him not do it now. Is that a bit much of an obstacle for first thing? Yeah.
Coming down.
Come on, let's get your old legs into gear, eh? Oh yes, it's a very big jump, isn't it? He's like, do I have to? Can't you just bring it here to me? Come on, you know you want to. Come on, Jeff, we need you jumping on rocks this morning. We need you to get off one first. There we go, good boy. So as you can see, It's just, for a goat, he was a little bit nervous about getting off that rock, but this is what these guys do naturally, so they do live in rocky areas, and they do spend a lot of time jumping up on rocks. They have got very good jumping skills, they have got fantastic balance, so it's really good to sort of encourage that out in the training, because it's fun for them, and it encourages them to behave naturally. You can see Jeff's already wandered off over to his rock there. That's where he feels nice and happy. And it's also where he looks very handsome, so he's feeling very photogenic this morning. Aren't you, Jeff? So what we'll do, we'll take a little wander up onto the mound here. Come on, Jeff.
So whilst Mike's getting Jeff to come over, say hi to a few more people that have joined us. So hi to Emily and Isla. Hi to Eleanor, Henry and Annabeth. Hi to Annabelle, Charlie. Good morning to Josephine and Baby Brewery. Hi to Oscar. Good morning to Kerry and Baby Albert, one of our supporters, so thank you for watching. Good morning to Arlo as well. Good morning to Trevor. Hi to Isabel and Anne. Thank you so much for joining us. So if you've just joined in, we're doing some goat training with our African pygmy goats. So we are getting them to do some agility. So Mike's just here at the moment with me, and Jeff, trying to get him to come off this rock.
Back up onto his rock, and he decided he was scared to jump off again. Come on, buddy. So like I say, he's just in a little bit of a grumpy mood. He's like, stop making me work for my breakfast. I want to just eat my breakfast out of the trough like the other goats do. But like I say, it's really good training for him when he behaves himself, isn't he, say, buddy? Come on, Jeff. Come on, bud.
So hi to Alice and Oscar who've just joined us. Good morning to Megs and Connor. Hi to Belle and Georgina, thank you so much for watching. Hi to Amelia, watching with her dog Buster.
So as you can see, he's in a very, very lazy mood. He's trying his hardest to get the food whilst doing as little as possible. So you'll find this, like Lou said, some of you guys might be training your own animals at home, and we know that all animals do have the very stubborn days. So if he's feeling stubborn, that's absolutely fine. All animals feel stubborn from time to time. All animals sort of go through that, oh, I don't want to do what I'm told phase. That's absolutely fine. All we just have to do, same with when you're training any animal, patience and perseverance, that's the key. You've got to be very patient with animals sometimes, especially goats, because they are very, very stubborn animals. So as stubborn as a mule, as stubborn as a pygmy goat's probably a better expression. Come on, Jeff. Now you can see this pellet. This is delicious pellet to him. He really wants this pellet. Come on. There we go. Oh, crikey. There we go. You had to walk a whole 2 foot for that. That was terrible for you, wasn't it? So now he's off the rock. Before he jumps back on it again, we'll see if we can get him to follow us a little bit, and see if we can get him to do a bit more training up here. So I'm just using this food at the moment just to lure him away from that rock, which is where he's decided he wants to stand this morning. Haven't you, buddy?
Oh,
like
no.
Come on, Jeff. Come on, bud. Like you say, if you watched our last training session, he took a little while to get going then as well. So Jeff, he's not the quickest starter, are you, buddy? But once he gets going, he's very, very good at his training. He's still fairly new to it as well, bear in mind. So, as we've already said, oh, grumpy. If any of you guys are training your own animals at home, come on, Jeff. Jeff, come on, bud.
He's going to go back
He's
to
going
that
back
rock.
onto the rock. He really loves that rock this morning. He's really adamant he doesn't want to get off there. So if any of you guys are training your own animals at home, you've probably noticed that they do have the stubborn days, they do have their awkward days, they do have the grumpy days, and it looks like Jeff's going through all three in one morning this morning. He really doesn't fancy doing any training.
Maybe we'll see if we can get into that other rock just by him.
Yeah, we'll try and find a different rock for him this morning. We'll start small, eh, bud?
So hi to Karen, hi to Jaden, good morning to Max, another one of our supporters, so thank you so much for supporting and watching us.
So this is actually quite funny when they do this as well, so it's good part of their, it's good for them to... Come on, buddy. Here we go, Jeff. Good lad, there we go, crikey. Crikey, that wasn't as hard a work as you made it out to be, was it, eh? So yes, it's important for the training that they do very well. The good thing about the goat training is, unlike a lot of our animal traits that we train here, Oh, crikey. We do a lot of training for veterinary reasons. We do a lot of training for medical reasons. With the goat training, it's a bit more fun than anything else. It's fun for us and it's fun for the goats. So if they want to take the time, if they don't pick up on it quite so quickly, if some are better at it than others, that's absolutely fine, because it is more just a bit of enrichment, a bit of something to keep them busy and keep them happy, and it's good for bonding. Also, the keepers with the animals, although you wouldn't think it this morning. Just a headbutt here, would we? Eh? So, we'll see if he fancies, now we've got him off his precious rock, we'll see if he fancies taking a wander elsewhere. Come on, Jeff. So let's start small. Let's start small, eh? Good boy, there we go. So what I'm going to do now that we've got him into the swing of things, I've got a clicker here. Now they know that the clicker is a bridge between them doing the thing that we want them to do and us giving them the reward. So at the moment you'll notice I'm not using the clicker, I'm just feeding him. Oh crikey, Jeff, are you okay? Because he knows he's on camera, he's feeling very camera shy this morning. Aren't you, Jeff?
Back to his rock. His classic rock. Am I distracting
what
you?
I'm going to do now that it's actually become a training session, rather than trying to get Jeff off the rock session, come on, bud. I'm going to use the clicker, and when he comes to where I point to, Jeff, come here. Okay.
He's choosing to look away and not even look at us now.
Just hop from one rock to the other, eh? Does that sound good? I just want to get him used to the idea that the clicker is the bridge. Come on, buddy.
So have we done this part of the training before? Has he used the clicker before?
Yes, we used the clicker during the last training session. And basically that makes a nice bridge. So you guys, again, if you're training animals at home, especially dogs and horses, they use clickers a lot with. So that just basically means they know when they hear that noise, they've done the right thing, and then they get a reward for it. So you're going to wander back here, Jeff. Come on, we'll wear a group between these two rocks, eh? Come on, bud. Come on, Jeff, here we go. Good boy.
Slowly starting to get it.
Yeah, he's getting it bit by bit. So I think to start off with, he was just being a little bit grumpy and a bit stubborn. We'll try again. Come on, Jeff. Come on, buddy. Up you get. Come on. And up. Click. Good boy. There we go. So as soon as they do, you are a grumpy old goat this morning, aren't you? You are a very grumpy goat. So Jeff's not a morning person, as you can see.
I am definitely not a morning person
He's
either,
not
so
a
I
morning
feel him.
person either,
I
so-
feel him.
And I'm always overly chirpy in the morning, so you know, if you're not a morning person, the last thing you want is someone who's chirpy at breakfast. So that's why Jeff's been particularly grumpy with me this morning. Hi, hey, bud. Come down here.
So we've got Karen asking how old Jeff is.
So I'm trying to say, Jeff was born in 2016. So he's going to be 5 years old this year.
Wow.
And come on, Jeff, come down. So he knows what it means. Again, he's standing there in a kind of, oh, do I have to? You know, I really, really want that nice food, but I don't want to have to walk 3 foot for it. Come on, bud. Come on, Jeff, you can do it. Oh no, he's stopping to have a little scratch first.
And Karen is also asking how long the goats live for.
So these dogs, they can live for about 10 to 15 years on average in captivity. So these guys, closer to the 15, hopefully. So Jeff's, like I say, he's only 5 years old this year, so he's still quite a young goat. You'll see his mother in a minute, Gertie, who's just inside having a breakfast at the moment. She's quite a bit bigger than Jeff, so, and the males do tend to get a bit bigger than the females, so he's got a little bit of growing to do. His horns will get a bit bigger, so he's still quite a young goat, which is probably why he's usually a good one to do training with, though he's certainly in a stubborn mood this morning. Aren't you, Treacle? Come on.
On strike this morning.
My dog does this when I'm trying to train my dog and he doesn't want to do what I'm asking him to. He's like, oh no, I've got to stop and scratch myself first. I've got to stop and shake myself, stop and go to the toilet, do everything apart from what you're asking me to do.
The art of procrastination.
So Jeff, we're really hoping we get you jumping across some logs this morning. We haven't got you to jump off that rock successfully yet, have we? Hey bud?
But as Mike said before, so all animals do have days like this. So if you have encountered some trouble with your training at home, then just slow it all down again. So take it back, maybe take it back a stage, and just slow everything down so they can do it on their own terms.
Yeah, so like I say, the difference with training animals, obviously it's not the same as people. They have to learn the language that you're trying to tell them. They have to understand what you want them to do. It's not as simple as just speaking English to them. So it's oh, sorry bud. So it's very good to just be slow, just be gentle. You know, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, so it's good to get them working slowly and to build that relationship and that bond of trust with them. So patience and perseverance is always the thing. An animal, as much as you like them to, will never ever do exactly what you want them to do all the time. So you just have to be very patient and persevere with them. Because we know that we're all doing our best, don't we, eh, Jeff? Some more than others, eh?
On the plus note, I think he's making a lot of people laugh this morning.
Yeah, that's a good like I say, this is mostly a bit of fun with the goats more than anything. So like I say, when we train a lot of our animals, sometimes it's for vet visits, sometimes it's for medical reasons, like we do blood draw training with some of our animals if that was to need to say, you don't like the camera following you, do you, eh? Up, come on, all the way up, good boy. If yes, we do blood draw training if a vet needed to inject an animal or take some blood samples from an animal. All these trainings are important, but this one is just a good bit of fun for the goats. We say that though, Jeff's looking at me in a kind of, can you just give me my breakfast please? That'd be fun for me. Just come down off the rock, come on, you can get down from there, come on.
You can do it, Jeff.
Crikey, Jeffrey, you really are in a stubborn mood this morning, aren't you?
If you're watching Jeff this morning, give him some motivation, guys.
Yeah, you guys at home, if you'll cheer for Jeff.
Send him a little cheer and hopefully
come on down.
He'll do it.
Good boy. So another thing that we could potentially try with Jeff is I do have with us a target, which we sometimes use to train our animals. So I will just grab the target and see if he might... Sorry. Treading on sheep here. If he might prefer going with that this morning.
We had a few people earlier asking if we'd got any other goats. So we do have some of the goats. They're just separated. They've had their breakfast this morning. So we've got Paddington and Marmalade. And we've got Gertie as well. And we have got a few other goats. So some of you might know Daffodil. And a few of our other goats. We've got Jill as well. So they are actually up in one of our top fields, so just having a little holiday, having a little graze in some of the top paddocks, and then we'll bring them back down again.
Jill is Jeff's sister actually, so they're having a bit of a break from each other, which I'm sure they don't mind. I'm sure if any of you guys at home have got a brother or a sister, you wouldn't mind a break from them every so often, so they're very much enjoying having a bit of a break from one another. So what I've got here is something we call a target. Now, I'm not sure if Jeff's ever been trained with a target before. Some of our goats have, some haven't. I can't remember if Jeff's one of them. But this is basically we made this ourselves. It's just an old broom handle with a ball that we get from our ball pit in the soft play area. And we've taught our animals, if any of you guys have watched our alpaca training, for example, or our black-nosed sheep training, you'll have seen how they've learned that when they touch the end of this target, they get a reward. And quite a lot of animals respond really well to that. So I'll have a go this morning. Like I say, if Jeff has learned this before, he might remember it. This is one thing that animals are really good at remembering. If he hasn't, then we can introduce it to him for the first time and see if he prefers this method of training. So with this, it's very simple. We just say, Jeff, target. And when he touches the end, you notice I do that click, I do that bridge, and he learns that he gets some food. And we found that most of our animals, you know, our sheep for example, and our alpacas picks up really quickly that when they touch this target, they get the reward. You know, and goats are much more intelligent than the sheep and the alpacas, so hopefully this will learn Jeff. Good boy! This will teach Jeff that when he touches this target, he gets a reward. And some animals prefer this just because, rather than the pointing technique, they can actually see this thing in front of them. It's a great big, clear ball that they can touch, and therefore they'll get the reward. So let's see if he prefers this. Jeff, target. He's being the same again. He's like, oh, I want to. He knows what it means. You can tell straight away, though. That's a good sign. Did you see how he sniffed at that? That shows he instantly recognises that this target is a potential reward for him. But at the moment, like I say, he's just being a bit stubborn and a bit awkward, and he's just not wanting to get off that rock, are you? Eh? So,
everyone's giving you a little bit of motivation here, Jeff. So everyone's saying, rock on, get off, Jeff.
Come on, Jeff.
Come on, Jeff.
Lots of people rooting for you here, buddy.
You can do it, Jeff.
You can do it, Jeff. Come on. Yeah, you guys watching at home, carry on giving Jeff that motivation. We're getting there, aren't we, buddy? Right.
Slowly but surely.
Come on. We'll do one more touch and then see if you'll follow off the rock. Target. Good boy. So I think he's still a little bit nervous around that clicker noise as well. Sometimes animals are. At first they're a bit sort of, what's just happened? But they soon learn that that clicker is a good thing. That's a bridge. That's a sign that they're about to get a nice treat. So like I say, you can use these things for your own animals at home as well. Come on, Jeff. Target. Come on, bud. You can do it. He's really trying his hardest to reach this.
Everyone's saying you can do it. You can do it, Jeff.
Come on, buddy. So they say never work with children and animals. They never do what you want them to do at the time you want to do them. I can guarantee you have been doing backflips and cartwheels yesterday, but as soon as we're live, you start being awkward, don't you? Hey, mister? Are we going to have a target? Come on, you can do this. Just come down for it. Come on.
You can do it,
So
Jeff.
he is interested in it. I think he has quickly learned that this target is a good thing, and it means that there's a reward on its way. I think we got some owls by the sounds of it, or some pigeons. Come on,
You want to
Jeffrey.
do it.
You can do this, buddy. Come on. So Jeff is a little bit more of one of our nervous goats, actually. Not our totally nervous goats, but if you've watched any of our goat training sessions before the last one, you might have noticed we usually do them with Ralph and Daffodil, usually because they're the most confident of the goats we've got. So Jeff's normally sort of a little bit more standing in the background sort of goat. So whilst those two are having a little holiday in a different enclosure at the moment, Jeff's taken the limelight, haven't you, buddy? He's gotten off his rock anyway, so that's a good thing.
He's gone to the second rock.
He's gone off to rock number 2. So we're doing this training with a slightly more nervous goats, which is an interesting thing to do. Jen? Oh no, he's going to say hello to you. Target?
Yeah.
So that's a really good sign. So we've only just got this thing out, and you saw that he deliberately walked over. Then, to touch the target, he instantly recognises this as a good thing. Jeff? Target? Good boy. So you can see I'm not pushing the target to him. He's pushing his nose to the target himself. He wants to touch that target because he knows that it'll end in a reward. Jeff? And now he wants to see what his mum's doing.
So give him some love, guys, if you didn't see that. So Jeff just touched the target twice, walked over to the target and touched it with his nose.
Jeff, come on, buddy.
You can do it, Jeff.
You are in a very stubborn mood this morning, aren't you, Jeffrey? And now he's going to the toilet.
At least he's hidden himself behind the rock, so
Yeah, he has.
he's thinking of all of you guys.
We'll just wait for him to finish there. So again, if you guys have got any questions about our goats or about any of the training we do with any of our animals, really, do feel free to ask questions.
We're getting a lot of love on this video, so keep giving us some love hearts. Keep giving us some waves. Let us know that you guys are still watching.
Come on, Jeff.
And like Mike says, if you've got any questions or if you'd like to give a shout out to anyone. Oh, yay!
So like I say, a lot of animals do pick this up very, very quickly. Even our animals like our sheep and our alpacas, you've probably seen training before where we've used these targets because it's just very, very basic bit of training. You can do this with your animals at home. Again, I'm training my dog at the moment. I'm trying to get him to weave around posts following a target very similar to this one, just because they do learn very quickly that just touching this target means they get a nice reward. Come on, Jeff, target. Come on, bud.
So with the introduction of this, what are you hoping then, Mike? Are you hoping that the agility will be a bit more successful.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, now, like I said, we have been training him since you guys last tuned in and saw us. So this training has on, and like with all animals, sometimes he's really good, sometimes he's a little bit less interested. On this occasion, which you can see, he's not too interested this morning. It might be because it's first thing in the morning. He might just be hungry and want his breakfast. It might also be because he's separate from the other goats. He might be thinking, why am I singled out? I want to go back to my mum. So there's various reasons he might not be quite as cooperative this morning. But this target, again, it's just another way of saying it to them. We want you to jump up here, we want you to go down there, we want you to come this way. And hopefully, like I say, he wasn't following the finger command this morning. Well, yeah, buddy, very well. So I just thought I'd introduce this just as a additional measure, just to see if he preferred this form of training. Because we are still in the early days with Jeff. Each animal's different. Some respond better to certain training measures than others. He's come to say hello to everyone. So it's a lot of the time with the animal, it's just a matter of finding which training method works best for them. Target, Jeff. Come on, bud. Come on. Do one last target for everyone. Good boy.
Good boy.
So we haven't quite had him jumping on rocks and doing all the things that we were hoping he'd do this morning, have we, eh, buddy?
We've got a few more months yet.
Exactly, yeah. So like I say, you guys will see his progress as time goes on, and you will see that he's getting better and better each time, hopefully, unless he's in a stubborn mood next training session as well. And like I say, as with all animals, if you're training your animals at home, you just have to persevere, you have to be patient with them. If they have their off days, if they have the stubborn days, if they really don't want to do what you're asking them to, that's absolutely fine. You just got to be patient and persevere with them, and we'll get there in the end.
Back on his rock.
Back on it. He's going to be there all day now. Okay, buddy, I think he's chosen his spot for the day. Well, I think you've given everyone a good laugh this morning anyway, Jeff, even if you haven't done what we wanted you to.
You've caused some great entertainment, which is also great.
Yeah, you've made a lot of people laugh at breakfast time. And I think if you make people laugh at a time like this, then it's you've done a good job.
So I've got Sarah asking, can she train her cats?
So yes, you can train cats. Now, I couldn't give you any advice as far as that goes personally, because I've never actually kept cats because I'm allergic to them. So I've never done any cat training. But I'm sure if you go online, especially if you go on YouTube, you will find some fantastic videos of giving you advice on cat training. And from what I've gathered, you can train cats almost as well as you can dogs. You can train cats to do all sorts of tricks, all sorts of things for your benefit and for theirs. So, like I say, get yourself on YouTube, and then you should be able to find some helpful hints.
So we are also doing our crate training with our lemurs, which might be quite helpful.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to check back at our previous videos, we're doing some crate training with those, so it's quite handy for cats to get them to go to the vets. So if you want to check back our old How to Train Your videos, they're all on our Facebook, YouTube and Instagram, so you can head on there and you can use those tips we're using for our lemurs for your cats.
Good boy. So that's really good. He even chose to, I didn't even ask him to go to the target then. He jumped off the rock himself and
He's like,
voluntarily walked over to the target. So this was a good introduction, I think. Jeff? Target? Come on,
like, you're talking about cats, you're not talking about me anymore. I don't like it.
Good boy. Yeah, so also we're going to train these guys. So this morning hasn't been the best example because we've had quite a stubborn little goat for breakfast this morning, but not for breakfast, that sounds awful. But we had quite a stubborn little goat this morning, haven't we, Jeff? But we are training him to jump on the rocks, to jump on the logs. Hopefully we'll see more progress of that as the weeks go on.
So how many times a week have you been training these guys?
So we try and do, we don't want to overdo it as well. We don't want to, because if you overdo it, you might get bored of it, you might get a little bit frustrated, you might become impatient with it. So we try and think around 2 or 3 times a week is a good way of keeping it fresh in his mind, fresh in his memory, and at the same time stop him from getting bored or frustrated. Let him keep going at his own pace. So we found that that's a really good way of getting him going. And also They are fantastic jumpers. So we've also, if any of you guys fancy treating our goats, if you go on our Amazon wish list, we've got a little obstacle course on there that we are waiting for someone to buy for us, and then we can get that set up in here, and hopefully when Jeff's a little bit more at hand with his training, we can incorporate jumps into that. We can even incorporate post weaving. We can incorporate several other training things that you see with other animals into this form of training, because goats, like I say, they are quite intelligent animals. They do respond to training really well, believe it or not. This morning. As you can see, he's gone over there now. He's trying to get back into his mum. The rest of his family at the other side of that gate. So he's wanting to go back to the rest of his family now. So that might be another reason that he hasn't been at his best this morning. But we've got somewhere with him. He's jumped a few times. He's responded to the finger command. He's responded to the target. So we've. It hasn't been the most successful training session, but we're going to keep on going, and hopefully by the next time you guys join us, we'll have made a little bit of progress, and Jeff will be able to show you all his new tricks.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for that training session. I've got a couple more goat questions for you.
Yeah,
so we've got Karen asking, do these goats have their horns trimmed?
No, these goats don't have the horns trimmed. So these guys, the horns actually grow very, very slowly. So we've never had to have them trimmed. We trim the hooves. Their hooves get trimmed every 2 weeks because their hooves do grow quite long. But yeah, the horns, in fact, the eldest goat that we got, who's 10 years old, is Jojo. He's actually Jeff's father. And those of you guys who visited us, he lives in one of the side paddocks by the Cooney pigs. And you'll see he's got great big horns. But the way they grow, if you look at Jeff, they grow sort of outwards, they don't curl down, so they can get quite long, and they don't actually bollow them, they don't grow into them or anything, they just stick out of their heads, so they don't need to have their horns trimmed, but you will also see them sometimes dragging the horns on things, sometimes dragging them on the rocks. That's usually more if they've got an itch rather than just to file them down. In fact, we've even put these bamboo stumps here hanging from ropes, and one thing these guys love to do, if you ever see them here, is they love to wedge that behind the horns and give behind the horns a good scratch there with the rope. So they do grate the horns on things, they do move the horns around on things quite a lot, but they don't grow very close to their head, so they don't need them trimmed.
And the last question,
Yeah.
What type of goats are they?
These guys are African pygmy goats, so they are very popular in various villages in Africa to keep. So they're kept for meat and they're kept for milk. But that's not why we keep them here. We keep them here because they're very cute and we like to give them a happy home.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mike.
Okay, guys.
Oh, sorry, we've got one more question.
Oh, one more question, that's fine. Jeff's come over for the last question as well.
So let me just read this
Give
first.
him a nice big.
So Mark's asking a question for the both of us. If you could be one of the animals from the park for a day, which would it be?
Oh, which animal would I be?
This is a very good question.
This is a fantastic question. Which animal would I be for a day? I would quite probably be one of the otters, because I think they're very cute, I think they're very playful, and they also love swimming, and I like swimming a lot. So,
That's a very good question.
Yeah, I think I'd like to be an otter. What about you, Lou?
I think mine would have to be, I think it'd either have to be the tortoise or the meerkat. It's just because they get heat. They've got heated houses that they can just chill in most of the day.
That's true, yeah. If you're
But
one of those
also-
people who likes to sit in the warm and eat all day, then the tortoise is a very good option.
Well, it sounds like my perfect day, so I would have to say that. Let us know what you guys would be. So Laura's saying that she would be a rabbit. It's a very good choice.
Yeah.
We've got some other cool animals. So we've also got lemurs, wallabies. Let us know what you choose to be. But I'll let Mike carry on. Are you going to let the others out this morning, or?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now, there's a little bit of food left here, so I'm just going to give Jeff one last little handful, and then I'm going to let the rest of his family and let the sheep out. So there you go, bud.
So thank you so much, Mike, this morning. And thank you, Jeff, although you have been a little monkey this morning, not wanting to do your training, but that's okay.
You can see the rest of Jeff's family here now.
So we've got Paddington and Marmalade. You can see they are quite a lot smaller So these guys were actually born, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was year before last, yeah. So that's Marmalade there who's running along.
So we've got Marmalade here, so he's darker in colour. And we've got Paddington, who's just got inside, but he is browner in colour than Marmalade.
So yeah, Paddington and Jersey are just inside. That's Jeff's mum. Oh no, they're coming out now. I think they're feeling a little bit camera shy. They're like, are we going to be on TV? I haven't done my hair or anything. Yeah, she's just brushing her beard ready for the camera now. Also going to let all the rest of the rest of the so these guys can't wait to come out.
Woo!
That's Flump. So Flump's feeling like a bit of a ninja this morning, jumping all over the place like that. So these are our Cameroon sheep, and who are also native to African villages. And as you can see, these guys are very cute and very inquisitive.
Very sprightly this morning,
So
in comparison to
Coco, Leia and Flump here. We have to separate those guys from the goats at feeding time because the goats are a little bit bullyish with the sheep. They don't always let you guys have your fair share of the food, do they? So yeah, we have to separate them at feeding times so that you guys can have your fair share. But once they've had the breakfast, as you can see, they can all live together again like one big happy family.
Amazing. So we will leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Mike, for your awesome training session.
Okay then, guys, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. So we have got our next live video. There's been a bit of a schedule change, so unfortunately it's not going to be Friday this week for our last Wake Up Wild. We are going to move it to Thursday, but we will update everyone on our Facebook page a bit later today, and we will change the event as well. So sorry about that, guys, but next week we'll be back to normal, so it'll be Mondays and Fridays, but this week it will be Thursday at 9 o'clock for our training session. No, for our Wake Up Wild, sorry. So we shall see you then. Thank you, guys.